Well, imagine the average person who's getting a blood panel, maybe even a very extensive one, and they're like, "Okay, doc, what do I do?" And they're like, "Well, there's a couple pills here." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
What is the recommendation from the average medical professional? And not to say that anything's bad. I'm thinking, like, what is the standard of care?
It is by default pharma.
It is.
Welcome to the best hour of their day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
as both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the best hour of your day. HCP
Healthcare Provider Fundamentals course.
Is that live?
It'll be first one June 20th, 22nd, June 22nd.
Okay.
In Thornton. I don't know the affiliate.
That's an in-person course.
Mm-hmm.
What's it about?
It's a one-day fundamentals course, fundamentals of CrossFit methodology, with 3 unique lectures on kind of this where we are with healthcare, and then how to integrate CrossFit into the clinic, not to work doctors or coaching, but how to make the right recommendations, how to work well with coaches. And
I think they should coach. Hey, fill out this form, and then I'm going to need you to adjust your stance. I'm going to need you to adjust your stance real quick. We got to squat.
It's
immediately give them a not a clean bill of health. Be like, oh, you're sick. You can't squat. So take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So is that I know they had launched the
HCPL1s.
No, there was a different one it had nothing to do with medical. It was just like I think it was a fundamentals course, foundations or whatever it was. It was like, I think it was, I never saw one. I never got to coach one. I think it was just a truncated level 1. It was just the theory stuff.
We took a lot of that and then just added.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. So what's the healthcare stuff you're putting in there?
There's a lecture that is called like from the clinic to the affiliate. It really talks because it was written by 2 MDs.
Okay.
It was adapted off an article that they wrote, and that's kind of how we did it, and they knew that as well.
This isn't the same like Rocket or
no,
these
this
are
is
different
Dr. Shveta Raju out of Atlanta, and Dinesh.
I don't think I've met him.
Yeah, they're both level 3s now.
Nice.
MDs, and work at an affiliate. I don't think they own their own affiliate, but
that's cool.
Yeah, they crush it, and they kind of wrote this from a physician perspective, where it's like,
I'd be curious to.
Yeah, it's really cool. It talks about, as a physician, what a patient can get by going into the CrossFit gym if they have some level of chronic disease, and
right.
How it's important for physicians to make these connections.
When you think about that, this whole project, we started, by the way, it's just easier to just go sometimes. When you think about that whole project, like Magic Wand Time, King of the World for a day, what does that look like in your mind?
Where I'm trying to go with this?
Yes.
The whole thing.
Hey, we've made it. We're there. Look what I did.
I think, I think, who talks about this really well, because, it's his space. He's very articulate with it. But we had matching ideas, and the ideas, and that's Dr. Tom McCoy is what I was talking about.
Okay.
But the idea would be, CrossFit affiliates, they're health homes.
Right.
Like this is the place where you go to truly establish health. And it's lifestyle stuff, right? So it's the CrossFit methodology, it's nutrition, but then you have access to everything else that you might need. Mm-hmm. You have somebody that is maybe a dietitian that understands nutrition the same way that we do. You have access to MDs, other healthcare professionals, physical therapists if you need it, mental health care. All of it.
Blood work.
Right? All of it.
Yeah.
All of it. And you can do that through accessibility to the CrossFit Medical Society, like we were talking about, where this would be an independent organization where you have all these healthcare professionals as members there that are networking, bringing other ones in. There's peer-to-peer education. They're having events. They are educating healthcare professionals on how to work with affiliates. We are educating affiliates on medical literacy. Maybe we're even building something that looks like a health coach that actually bridges the gap between the clinic and the affiliate, right? And then that health coach can maybe be on the directory as well. So if you are somebody, hey, I want to find an affiliate who has a health coach who can work with my doctor, and I want to find a doctor who's a CrossFit-like doctor,
right?
Because I want to do things that keep me in the place where I love, where my community is.
I met my doctor. I did her level 2.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you're like, I want to.
Yeah, she was like, you have worms and you probably have hormonal issues, and I was like, I'm in. No, but like I met her, and I forget, it came up. So we were talking about something in. It might have been something along the lines of the nutrition lecture in there in that level 2, which is not really a nutrition lecture, but
the behavior change.
The behavior change, yeah. And something came up, and she started asking me questions that were very clearly. I was like, "You're a medical professional of some sort," and then I set up a meeting with her. I don't know, like several months later. She's functional medicine, so it's like not the normal whatever. I have like a 1-hour call with her every quarter. We do full blood draws. Like the whole 9. So I'm fully on board with all that. I think it's really, really cool stuff. I feel like the obvious barriers are going to be probably some of this is cost prohibitive, but maybe not. I don't know.
In terms, like if I'm a physician,
or
yeah,
I mean, obviously that, but there are some interesting models in that world that I've become aware of. A lot of them are just going cash basis.
Yeah, a lot of it's cash based now,
because
of just the insurance. And the whole thing.
Yeah, they're billing 60 cents on the dollar or whatever.
Yeah.
But obviously, cost prohibitive for the end user,
for the individual.
Yeah, for the individual in some instances.
Yeah.
But I don't know that to be true. Have you guys started to even look at any of that?
I think it depends on who they're finding in their area, right? Because let's just say you still are part of an affiliate, and this is your health home, and you can use the medical society as a way to reach medical professionals in your area, or telehealth, or whatever it might be. They might have, they might accept the insurance that you have. Maybe it is cash only. So there will be options.
I mean, my experience has been it's a little bit of both. Right, so some of it is like if I get a blood panel, that my insurance covers that.
Yep.
Like I'm not paying for that out of pocket.
Right.
But like when I have my call with her, or if she is gonna say, hey, like let's try some of these different supplements to see if we can move some of these markers around, or if you're getting into peptides or.
But you can HSA that, right?
Yes, you can. Yeah. So you're still coming out of pocket, but now there's a tax benefit to it. So, there's still going to be some barrier there. However, it's not as expensive as people think it is.
Right.
So you can find them for anywhere between $50 to $100 to essentially be in that network.
Yeah.
And then it's similar to like the Globo Gym model, which is like, hey, it's $50 a month, and if you want this and that, and you got to pay for the extra stuff.
Right.
But you get access there. So if I had a cold or I need to get a prescription put in, it's just like it's a text or a phone call.
Yep.
And it's there.
Yep.
So it's not crazy expensive, but acknowledging like you are going to have to pay some out of pocket. But most people are paying that for copays for stuff.
I was going to
anyway.
say you're probably paying close to the amount that you would pay for copays right now with insurance, right? Unless you have some amazing insurance plan through the organization you work for, which is pretty unheard of.
Like I'm thinking on average per quarter, I probably pay out of pocket $1,000 a quarter. So, $350 a month.
Right.
Which is, again, not chump change, but.
But what's the deductible that people have to reach most of the time with their before things are
way higher than that.
Right.
Higher than $4,000 a year.
Right.
So, it's I think there's misconceptions about all of that.
Yeah.
Because what I think most people don't know, and you're probably a little bit more well-versed than I am on this, is in a lot of instances, it can be cheaper to go cash basis because the doctor doesn't have to navigate all of the middlemen who are upcharging for all the things and all that stuff.
That's right.
And they can just be like, your blood work's $20.
Yeah.
That's not always the case, but you get what I'm saying.
I think, and that's why you tend to see a lot more. I mean, even the family practitioner that I was going to in Encinitas switched their whole entire clinic to cash-based. Like, now we're not dealing with insurance anymore.
I know
they
many.
made the cases for like, here's how you're going to save money in doing so.
Well, I know many physicians. Oddly enough, many of the friends I grew up in like middle school and high school are all surgeons now. But they'll tell me horror stories, dude, about like just how delayed payments are. The insurance companies drive diagnoses and procedures, and they're like, you just get overruled. Sometimes they're like, yeah, you're not doing that. You're going to do this, and you're like, how do we get here?
Yeah. It's a backwards.
Have you guys looked at potentially partnering or even networking with some of these other companies? Like, he was on Joe Rogan recently. His name is Brigham something or other. I can't remember, but I think his company is called. It's not. It might be Everlywell, something along that lines. But
I know Everlywell.
You know what I'm talking about? That might not be it. I think I always say the name wrong.
Is it a testing?
Yes.
Okay.
He's down in Texas.
Okay.
And he was. If anybody's not watched that episode and you want to find out like how absolutely hosed the insurance world and medical thing is, he's been on twice. It's mind blowing. He was in insurance. He was in that game before.
Wow.
And he walks through the whole thing. And it is devastating.
Wow.
But just how corrupt and how bad it is and how, when you think about it, basically the crux of it is this, is like providing healthcare is actually not that expensive. There are just way too many people between the patient and the physician who are taking money out of the middle. They need their cut. It's wild, but have you guys looked into like just for a couple different reasons, meaning like just reach and then just creating a larger network in there?
Yeah. I think as CrossFit, no.
Okay.
And I think this will be one of the things that the medical society would be able to do. So are they looking to work with partners in that area? Blood testing, health testing, that kind of stuff. Absolutely. Right. I don't know what that looks like yet. That'll be on them.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about the independent organization. As long as they're doing things that align with the direction of the brand.
Okay. So that's probably a good start. So what is?
So this will be an independent, CrossFit Medical Society,
right.
Independently run organization.
Okay.
Licenses the CrossFit name.
Got it.
And they have their main goal really, the main goal is great. The main goal is really getting the people who need CrossFit the most, the affiliates. It's just how are we going to go about doing that? Well, one, we get more healthcare professionals on board. Mm-hmm. So they are it's a membership-based thing. So you have members that are going to be physicians, DPTs, MDs, DOs, other allied health healthcare professionals, students. So then you can reach student organizations. They can create events. They can go to events. They can share what they're doing at events that are not CrossFit related. They can create CrossFit events that have a kind of medical tone to it, and invite others in. So it's a really great way to build that cohort of people within our community, and then create resources for affiliate owners and CrossFit members. So the directory would be one of those things where I can find healthcare professionals collaborating on education. We can lean on them and say, okay, well, how can we educate affiliate owners and coaches to work best with physicians, right? So,
is this just? I would imagine this is not just doctors. It's probably PAs, nurses.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So the allied health would be like PAs, nurses. We'd have different mental health. So even outside of like the psychologists and psychiatrists, therapists, that kind of stuff as well. Functional health. We'd open it up. For sure.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, we'll kind of fast forward into the future, into a perfect world. Somebody walks into the affiliate, sit down, you're like, hey, you got to go on this one. And hey, by the way, like, I'm assuming you have a primary care physician. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, cool. I'm like, we also have those in there, and they are fully integrated into what we do. And if you were looking to switch, his name is Dr. Mike G.
Yeah, you could do it.
Is that kind of...
And this would be one of those things to where the affiliate has the ability to implement it however they want.
Right.
So if you have an affiliate, and so let's say, like in the future, you have this affiliate and they have a few health coaches. They've gone through some curriculum that we created, and it creates this health coach, and that curriculum is co-developed so that we know that they can seamlessly work with these physicians and allied healthcare professionals really well, and they understand everything they need to understand, whatever it is, privacy, HIPAA compliance, medical literacy,
right.
how to do it all, right? And
I
now
want to come back to the medical literacy in a minute, but keep going.
Yep. Yeah. So then they understand how to do it all. Then maybe they can be listed as, and I don't know what it would be called, but let's just say it's called a CrossFit Medical Society affiliate, or whatever it is. Right. And it's like, well, now you can be on the directory because you have these certified health coaches in there.
Got it.
And then it's like the affiliate can say whatever they advertise it however they want.
Yeah.
Someone comes in and say, hey, look, we have health coaches here. We work with the CrossFit Medical Society. We have access to, all different types of physicians and allied healthcare professionals, all around the United States or the world, because it'll be internationally based anyways, right? So, and the goal is they come in here, they establish health. Things still happen. We still get sick, whatever it might be. We get hurt sometimes, right?
You're never going to avoid it.
Find somebody that understands what you're doing, how effective it is at promoting health, and make sure that you can stay in there so you can continue to get the results that you're getting.
Because that's what we all do anyway. Yeah. Meaning, like, if I get hurt, like at my gym, we have, not that it happens all the time, but like we do have people that come to us with, and sometimes you do have catastrophic injuries, like it's very rare, but it happens. I'm like, I need you to go talk to this doctor.
Yeah.
I know him. He knows us. He knows what we do. We have a really strong relationship with the physical therapy practice in the area too, who they come and they do regular screenings. Many of them have been members at different points in their career at my facility. So when somebody's like, I have this, I have that, and I'm like, call Jake.
Yep.
Go talk to him. So I take that really serious. Like I want to send that person to somebody who I know is not going to say something ridiculous.
Right.
It's not going to be like, hey, you should, stop putting your hands over your head. Like, what? Like
stop squatting.
Yeah, stop squatting.
Don't sit down.
Don't take a crap ever.
PushPress is the easiest full suite software that you can get to run your business.
One of the best things about PushPress, I would say, is the customer service. Hands down, they are the best. We know them all by name. They hear a lot from us.
They know us.
And they know us, but they're there to help you. And they're also gym owners, so they understand.
They are out of this world and helping their clients and just have a true passion for helping gym owners. They're so good with customer service.
If you're not using it and your business is ready for it, or you're having stress with the system you're using, it's a no-brainer to give them a call.
Before we found PushPress, managing different things was very complicated and confusing, and so we just needed something that was more user-friendly.
If I had to describe PushPress, it would be comprehensive, because they really understand what a gym owner needs, and they give us all the tools that we need to be successful. In fact, I don't think I've ever talked to somebody from PushPress that didn't own a gym. So they understood, and I immediately connected with the people there, and the products that they gave me were just, this is everything I needed. Like, where have you guys been my whole life?
The best way that I can describe PushPress is absolutely phenomenal.
If I had a gym owner friend that didn't have PushPress, I would tell them that it's life-changing when it comes to having more time to work on the business, and the support is coming from other gym owners that are trying to do the same thing that I'm trying to do.
Do you find it odd that we've not been able to do this yet?
You mean in terms of
just
that end vision?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I do think it's probably. I think it's both sides. Yeah. I think it's partially. We are constantly fighting this misconception of what CrossFit is, right? So, and we've been fighting it for a long time. We're making a lot of headway there. So it's making sure that we can get the right physicians on board. We've done a great job. I mean, Greg's MDL1 thing, that happened way back in the day where he just paid for MDs to come in there. I mean, that created a core group of physicians that were able to spread CrossFit methodology to their own network, right? Their friends, their colleagues. And we've grown, man. I don't know what we started with, but we have thousands of MDs now that are on board.
Do you have any idea? Because you were pretty involved in those the MDL ones when they were running them, weren't you?
A little bit.
Okay. Do you have any idea how many people how many medical professionals went through that course? Because they were doing them at a pretty high clip. Like it was
close to 1,000, maybe like 800 or so.
Okay, that's less than I thought, but it's still a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had the little DDC events afterwards, which were really small little, conferences. They were cool.
What's your observation been as far as kind of what you were alluding to earlier? So you have the misconception that CrossFit's bad. CrossFitters are like, doctors are dumb. So there's that.
Well, and then the other part of it, from what I understand in talking to affiliate owners and coaches, is like there is a little bit of you got to have confidence in, like, you're a healthcare professional as a coach or an affiliate owner. Like you are providing health to the people that come into your gym, right? So you have to have the confidence to be able to go into a clinic and say, here's what we do, here's how we help people, here's how we can support you, and then start making those connections, right? And I think the medical society will help with that, but you should still reach out in your local community and try to do some of this on your own as well.
It's hard. You're just talking about people are drowning under their own businesses. Like, hey, I want you to go talk to 50 doctors. And they're like, yeah, cool story, man. Like, it's not happening. Like, the idea and the sentiment is directly over the target. I just think it's a bandwidth thing for a lot of people. Do you see, at least inside of that society that you guys are building, do you guys see like an upswell? Is there any, how would I phrase this? Do you feel pretty confident about it?
I do.
Okay.
So an upswell, maybe just interest.
Yeah, meaning like, hey, like people are starting. Yeah, people are trying to catch on. They're like, hey, like this shit's pretty broken. Like we should maybe try a different approach.
I get a lot of emails and just different types of communication, depending on where I am, whether it's in person or email, of medical professionals. Most of them MDs, some of them nurses that have a specialty that are tired of doing things the way that they're currently doing it and trying to find alternative ways, and in doing so, connect with us. Right, so. How can I create this program? How can I work with affiliates? How can I bring CrossFit into this, medical establishment, whether it be a giant hospital system or something that's more localized? So this will be a resource for them as well. So this is it would be a great way of, hey, if I am a nurse or I'm an affiliate owner or I'm another healthcare professional and I'm trying to either bring CrossFit into a hospital system, or I'm trying to create some other type of clinic, they can go into the medical society, find people that have already done it successfully, because we have some, and then you just have those resources.
What are some of the definitive hurdles that you guys have identified in rolling this out? Like, you're like, that's going to be a serious roadblock that we're going to need to navigate
in the medical society itself,
or maybe not even that specific component of this idea. It could be that, or just the larger idea of integrating all these together. Obviously, time, resources, money, but are there any like, hey, legislation over here, or this governing body over here is really going to try to break this?
I think it depends on where you are and what you want to do, right? So if we talk about, insurance-reimbursable programs that can be set up in affiliates, which people have been doing and MDs have been doing. Those
Meaning, I
create a 12-week program.
Oh, got it.
And I think
not necessarily my gym membership is something that my insurance pays for. There are those subsidy programs, but I sometimes I think they're a scam. I don't really understand them.
Yeah, and the ones that these doctors have done, they are not that. What ends up happening is maybe you do like a 12-week program. You have to have some type of medical condition, chronic disease, whatever it is, and then the doctor has to do like 6 teaching sessions, and then the head coach can run all the classes.
Okay,
and it's fully covered by insurance if that happens.
Interesting.
And then 12 weeks or so, however long you make the program.
Are there any resources on that specific model or approach that have been put out?
We will.
Okay.
The problem with that is that kind of program is state dependent, right? So you can do it, but it might depend. Like
there'll be the nuances with
the nuances.
Yeah,
so it's always going to be best practices, and then due diligence on the part of the person who wants to implement this program.
That was similar to the question that came up, which I think you addressed in the. We're here at GAS at the Gym Accelerator Summit, and they just had a CrossFit HQ Q&A panel. That's similar to the grants.
Similar to grants,
which is like,
best
hey,
practices.
There's a thing on grants, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, that is a grant writing and application is a whole profession in and of itself.
Yep.
And that's before we get to. I just went through the whole process like for a year to get an application in.
Yep.
And
so there's education on your part. How do I effectively write it?
It's like, is it federal? Is it state? Is it local? You know, who do I need to call? Right? Because some of that is you have to pick up the phone. You have to go literally talk to somebody.
Yep.
You know, it's like that.
Pick up the phone or show up in person.
Show up in person like that. Or most cities have an economic development component, meaning like there is a core group of people whose job is to drive the local economy, whether that's help because most gymmers don't know this either. Like they can help you buy a building. You know, so you obviously have the SBA or your local credit union or bank that you can do that, but in a lot of instances there are grants, subsidies, or special programs. I don't want to say that allow you to kind of like circumnavigate red tape. That's like a poor way of describing it, but like they can speed that up for you. Be like, hey, you fall within this cohort of people that we're trying to get moving forward. So we're going to actually help you out. So it's similar to that.
But it always takes like
it's a pain in the ass.
It is, and you really have to want to do it.
Oh yeah, it's like you have to be in it for the long haul. And I tell everybody that I'm like, if you're going to do this, like plan to not get it the first time. That's like your cost of entry learning fee.
Right.
And they're like, you might get it the second time.
And I think that's been the hard part with a lot of the questions around creating these programs or finding funding is they want to bypass all that. Like what are the like what's the secret to bypassing all this? I just do it once and I get this, and it's like, well, you know,
if that was the case, everybody would have it, and these programs would fall apart.
Yeah.
So let's talk. I know you don't have like details and stuff, but like what can you share about the medical society about like what? So nothing specific, but like 2024, generally speaking, what is the, or at least what do you guys have on the rollout?
So we can expect in that first year a working directory. So you can get memberships, working directory, some basic education, some networking that can happen, possibly an event that the medical society would put on.
Did you guys do anything at the what did you guys just do in Austin?
We did the CrossFit for Health Summit.
That's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was awesome. Yeah.
I know they've been rolling out the talks.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, you go into these because it was the first one we've done, right? And I was it's the first one. Like, man, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, pleasantly surprised with the success of the event.
In what way?
Just the speakers, I think the crowd, the participation, the questions, the energy that was there. It was all just so positive.
Yeah.
And it was like, man. And then you had doctors and healthcare professionals in there with coaches and affiliate owners and just CrossFit members, and they're there together, learning about the same thing and then connecting with each other. And I was like, we need more of that. That's what we need.
Yeah. Yes, on so many levels, which is why I like just up people's ass about going to the affiliate summits, coming to events like this, GAS, like. We're toying around with some really cool ideas about stuff that we want to do for the larger community. Like it's like, hey, come here, like everything you would ever want to do.
Yeah.
And because that was dissipating prior to COVID, and then COVID literally killed it.
I know.
Meaning like the in-person community component of CrossFit, and it's going to take a concerted effort to bring that back, but
I think people want it though.
No, I know they want it. It's not even a debate. It's just there's kind of like nothing there, right? But I think it's a doable thing. Who's the big bearded gentleman that spoke there?
That's Tom. Dr. Tom McCoy.
Okay. Is he here locally?
He does. So he has. He's
The reason
a
I'm
part
asking-
affiliate owner in Ohio.
Okay. Because he was here at Proven when we were here in. Oh, okay, got
There's
it.
a clinic at Proven. So he runs patients out of there.
That makes perfect sense. Because
so
when we
this-
did our mastermind
yeah.
here, we had a 150 person workout there, and he was one of the people there. Super nice dude.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize he was a phys. I thought he might have been a PT of some sort, maybe, but that makes more sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a doc. Yeah, he's a DO.
That's cool.
So
he spoke. I didn't see the whole thing, but he was speaking very much to the human connection piece. Is what I got away from just some of the snippets that I saw there.
Oh yeah, it's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Right? So, I think that's why it's very useful to have a practicing clinic that you can feed people into the affiliate, because if you want people to get results, you have to get them with other people. Like we are social animals, right? So if I can get myself into a community where people are doing the right things the right ways and getting the right results, the chances of me sticking with my behaviors or those behaviors goes way up because of that human connection.
Right.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's very hard to do that stuff on your own. And
Yeah,
he's-
you're
he's
talking
done
about
it.
a subgroup of people that were going to end up doing that anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Like those are A-type personalities that were
Yeah.
probably
The
successful in a
person
whole
that
other
just
areas of their life.
crushes themselves in their garage every day by themselves and just gets amazing results is not the norm.
No.
Because I feel like we've had decent results in CrossFit, but if you told me
I'm doing okay
from day one, here's a list of 500 workouts for the next 20 years, do it in your garage by yourself, never with another person, I probably wouldn't be doing CrossFit right now. And I think the workouts are super effective, obviously, but I think what keeps you in the gym doing this for 19 years, as I have, are those connections, are the people that I've connected with, the communities that I've been a part of. That's what does it.
That's the glue for the whole thing. It's not the methodology works, but it is absolutely the community and the culture. Like I think I was at the Trainer Summit in Atlanta with Chuck and a bunch of other people from HQ doing the thing, and then here, and I was looking forward to seeing all the people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna learn. It's gonna be super beneficial. I'm gonna talk to people, but I was really just like pumped to see everybody. Like that was the thing.
That's it.
And that's what keeps you coming back every day. And I'm like, that's why I love the affiliate so much. I'm stoked to go there every day.
Yeah.
And working out is just a byproduct of that. And then the health is a byproduct of that. But it's the people
that was
that
the
give
whole
me
talk yesterday.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Because it's true. It's all health. How do you get health? Well, you have to keep them in the gym for a long period of time. So it is the byproduct of all that other stickiness that is part of CrossFit, that is just outside of the workouts, right? Which is super interesting because, one, it happens naturally. It just does, right?
Yeah.
Because of our methodology, because of our community. But two, if we start to understand it a little bit more, and we start getting people in that are a little nervous about CrossFit, they don't have a fitness background, we start really getting that 60% of the population that has chronic disease and has never really done anything fitness related, and they're terrified. And we start to understand how to hone in on these skills just a little bit more. You don't have to overdo it, but you understand how to hone on these skills just a little bit more. You can keep them in the gym, and we can really start changing the tide of where all this stuff is going. Like, that's how we do it.
Affiliate owners, if you want to grow revenue, what you need to understand is impact first. Offering the best classes and changing people's lives is how you get the revenue that you are searching for inside of the affiliate. And that starts with running fantastic classes here inside of the box. If that is something that you are looking for, we've got world-class coaches that are going to help you do that and help you run a better box. Everything from the coaching on the floor to the systems on the back end, we're going to cover it all. Book a call. We'll see you guys on the inside. As we're literally just talking about this, I'm thinking about messaging, and CrossFit works. It's not even a debate. But as we're talking about this, that feels like maybe an easier message to pitch, which is just like, hey, like you're going to be here, and all of these other people are going to help you continue this journey. Like that's why people go to church. That's why they do. That's like why they put their kids in certain schools, why they move to certain places. It's the whole thing. Like people are pack animals. Like, and turns out that this is a pretty good pack.
Why people go to MBA school, right? It's like sometimes less about the education, and it's about who are you going to be around.
I want to get in a network and do this thing. Yeah, but it's that's who was the other? There was another. I think she's a physician as well. Pretty fit lady, black hair.
Jen, she's
She was speaking about cancer, I think.
Okay, no, you're talking about at the
Health Summit.
At the Health Summit. Gabrielle Lyon?
She's jacked. Yeah.
Gabrielle Lyon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had some interesting snippets about. She was talking about muscle mass and cancer survivability.
Her whole thing is it's all muscle mass related and protein centric, right? So
real quick, because this is something that you're more than capable of speaking to, but you have 2 master's degrees, correct?
I have 3.
3
master's
which is a
degrees.
Glutton for punishment.
Yeah,
so
I think that's it.
That is 3 more than I have. So, what are they in?
I have exercise physiology, epidemiology, and then I did get an MBA.
Okay, so you have all 3. Okay, and that's kind of why you're a very perfect liaison for this whole project. Meaning, you have that because when did you get out of the Navy?
2005.
Okay, so I met you in 12, 13, and then but you were going to school at that, or you were about to.
I started my first master's in 2012.
Okay, yeah, because I remember when you were still living in Atlanta, you were doing. Okay, so that's a super interesting topic that she was bringing up. How much can you speak to that with her thesis, I guess, about muscle mass and some of those other components? She did have some snippets with regard to cancer survivability and stuff like that, which when I unpacked it a little bit, I was like, oh, that does kind of make sense. But
yeah, I'd have to look at it. And I'd just be making some assumptions now.
Assume away.
Right?
Yeah.
So
everything that we're going to state here, everybody is fact. So
just muscle mass is so important for so many reasons, right? Whether it's metabolically, whether it's functionality. There's nobody that is in their 70s or 80s and it's like, man, I wish I didn't have so much muscle, right? So it's probably one of the most important parts of the picture in terms of longevity, in my opinion. So how can you get the right type of muscle, right? But how can you get as much of it as possible? How can you maintain it?
Obviously, you get too much, but very few people are running into that problem.
Right,
too muscular.
And I think it's hard to get too much naturally.
For sure, yeah. But
and I think, and I think for most people, like you said, when we're talking to the general population, right? So, and a lot of what she talks about is protein centric because as we age, our efficiency of protein synthesis goes down. So we need more protein.
So for the dummies out there, talk about that a little bit.
Just our ability to break it down into amino acids and then use it to build up tissue, whatever that tissue might be. Right?
So what you're saying is hey, we're naturally start to have muscle mass deteriorate, and then in combination with that, my ability to actually utilize protein that I'm intaking also starts to deteriorate. So it's a double
breaks
whammy.
Down a little bit. It's just not as efficient, right? So it means I need a little bit more protein. And what do we tend to see as people age?
Way less protein.
They eat less protein.
Yeah.
They eat less in general, but definitely less protein.
Yeah.
I think about my own family members, right? So we should be doing the opposite. And then what do we get out of muscle? Well, we get a, they call it the metabolic sink for a reason, right? So, if you have more muscle,
the metabolic sink, I've not heard that before.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, if you have more muscle on your body, you have a higher ability to manage blood glucose levels. And
I think this was her bridge into the cancer thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and if you're lower in muscle and higher in fat content, all that breaks down. You don't have the ability to use it as much. So muscle is going to use glucose really easily, so you can manage blood glucose a lot more effectively.
Are there studies on people that are probably either type 1 or type 2, and what if hey, all of these people have lower muscle mass?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at it. But you tend to see with I'd have to look at type 1. But you tend to see with
that's why I was kind of probably not. That's a different story. But I would imagine there would be some interesting information there on type 2.
Yeah. Well, you tend to see the same type of things happen, right? You have somebody who has type 2 diabetes. You start to see a lot of other. It's usually not. I mean, a lot of times it can be the type 2 diabetes itself that causes the end of their life, but a lot of it is associated conditions, and so what ends up happening is you start to get low muscle mass, low bone density, higher body weight, peripheral artery issues, peripheral nervous system issues, and that's when you start to see all the real bad things start to happen that are associated with type 2 diabetes and amputations and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's
heart disease runs rampant. It's just like, man, it just causes so many things. But the other part is you have all these other organizations now that are showing that, hey, it's not a death sentence. It's not a life sentence. I mean, it is a
right. People are reversing
condition.
it. Yeah.
Now it's like, I think there's always this debate around the word cure, because if you start eating,
you could get it back.
Shit again, you get it back. But it's reversible is maybe a better way to say it, but you can reverse it for the rest of your life.
Right.
Just make the right lifestyle decisions, and you just maintain.
Yeah, change the behaviors.
Change behaviors. Like Virta Health does a great job of that. They've shown it for years.
I don't know anything about
Virta Health's out of San Francisco. I don't remember when they first started their research, but I did some interning with them in 2019, and they had, over 3 to 5 years of data at that time. I have to remember, but they've been doing it a long time.
Okay.
And they've grown quite a bit. But so when they started, it was just ketogenic diet.
Okay.
For type 2 diabetics. They weren't even working with insurance companies back then.
Okay.
They were doing it. They were making a case for it. They were getting the data. They were getting the results, and now they work with insurance companies. But so patients would be prescribed the ketogenic diet. Now, like CrossFit, if I said, here's the ketogenic diet, it's going to reverse your type 2 diabetes, go home and follow it. You might do it for a day, and you're like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So then they've created all the behavior change stuff around it, right? So technology, community, education. They have health coaches. They have dietitians. They have physicians, all virtually. So it's not like a CrossFit gym, but it's virtually, and it's through an app, and it's through their website. So they have communities, and they're helping each other out. And they've shown, I don't know where the data is now because it's ongoing longitudinal data, but their ability to reverse diabetes through diet alone has been unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be cool I would like to connect with somebody over there, and maybe we even go there and just talk to them.
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys doing over here? Like, how does this work?
There's a woman in San Francisco, a woman there, Amy McKenzie.
Never mind. I don't want people to poop on me.
It's been so long since I've been to their offices, but it was a really cool place. Definitely.
That's really cool.
I've
never even heard of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy, his name is Sami. I might have mispronounced his name, and if I did, I apologize. But if I'm correct with this too, he is the guy who started Trulia. Remember Trulia, the real estate?
Trulia.
It was kind of like a Zillow.
Okay.
It was Trulia, and you could rent and buy homes and look at the market and all that stuff through there. I don't even know if it still exists, but it was big, and so he started that, sold it, and if I remember correctly, he was going to do like this event to row from, I don't know, island to island or something like that, Hawaii. It's just some crazy long endurance type of row. And then he got, I can't believe I just, Jeff Volek. You know who Jeff Volek is? Steve Finney and Jeff Volek. They wrote a few books on ketogenic diet and the art and science behind ketogenic or low carb living, and then low carb athlete.
Low carb living, I know. Yeah.
So, and I'm probably butchered those books. But Jeff Volek, Stephen Finney, and
were you about to say the ketogenic diet for the athlete or something like that? Or?
Yeah, it was like the art and science of ketogenic diet for athletes, something like that.
Okay,
but Jeff also did a lot of, I think by trade he might be a PhD in exercise physiology or something around that side. So he was supporting Sammy in this event, and because it was this long endurance event, got him on the ketogenic diet so he can really tap into fat sources and be on water for so long, right? So that was his intro into ketogenic diet. Then he started to learn more with them, and then he was like, man, we need to.
That's cool.
Let's change people's lives with this. And, dude, they've done some cool stuff. Yeah, check it out.
That's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anything coming up in the Actually, I think we skipped over the question I asked earlier. I probably sidetracked you. So 2025 things that you guys are trying to get. So you're gonna have the directory.
So directory, newsletters.
Sorry, 2024.
Yeah, they'll have special stuff for.
You said directory, events.
Yeah,
maybe some events.
Maybe some events, some education, networking. I think they'd like to roll out the service of at least, hey, here's some places where you can get blood panels.
Right.
And then you have access to physicians for interpretation.
Right.
And then maybe some recommendations.
Right.
Based off of their understanding of CrossFit and what we do, which I think would be really cool.
Yeah. Which that's not really the hurdle anymore. Probably 10 years ago, that was a hurdle. Is like trying to find somebody that would give you an expansive enough blood panel that would be useful. And it's just like, oh, your cholesterol and whatever. And I'm like, okay, great. Like I want to know like ferritin. I want to know my testosterone levels. I want to know A1C, fasting glucose. Like I want to know all this stuff, and I want to get it. And even more importantly, that I want to get it. Move away from like sick care, which is like we're going to take this once every year, to like I want to get it on a rolling basis in order to have trends that would say this is a problem or it's not. That maybe you're one of these people that falls in normal high for certain markers, which is like, hey, your cholesterol is just 250. Like everything else is like spot on. Maybe that's not as concerning as we might think it is.
Right.
You know, stuff like that.
Well, imagine the average person who's getting a blood panel, maybe even a very extensive one, and they're like, "Okay, doc, what do I do?" And they're like, "Well, there's a couple pills here." Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is the recommendation from the average medical professional? And not to say that anything's bad. I'm thinking, like, what is the standard of care? What is
by default pharma?
It is, right? So, and then the average consumer will get a blood panel, and maybe they're not as read in as we are. So you get a blood panel, and you're like, "Well, there's a lot of great." It's like having a whoop and not understanding. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, cool, it says green or red or whatever.
Good. Yeah.
What the hell does this mean? Right. Or what is HRV? You know, so you have all this data and you're like, okay, cool, I have this about myself. Now what the hell do I do with it? It'd be great if someone was like, hey, here's what you can do. Here's some nutritional things that you can do. You know, here's what you can be doing in the gym. You know, I think.
I mean, if we go back to that, most people are watching this as taking the level one. So if we think about the sick, well, fit continuum and how we talk about this and the biometrics and that component of the fitness lecture, you know, having somebody that was like directly in that lane only, which is like, hey, here's all your markers. We're going to get these on a regular basis, just like you track your food, just like you track your workouts, and check. You know, turns out like we can manipulate these, we can move these in certain directions. And when you work through that, I mean, I can speak for myself personally, like when you work through that process of making the small tweaks, eventually you will get to like, okay, now this might be the intervention that is most likely to move the needle because we've run through everything else, whether it's like, hey, your sleep sucks, or you need to train a little bit more, or you need to add a little bit more cardio, or cut out gluten, or try these supplements, like, hey, a little bit more fish oil, a little bit less fish oil, magnesium, whatever. You run through all of that first.
Yep.
And then eventually they're like, hey, we've exhausted all measures. Like, now let's maybe introduce some, I guess what is now like traditional pharmaceuticals. Pharmacology in order to move that. But that's last resort, not first resort.
Well, and there are a lot of, I mean, that's one way you use this thing. And I think the other way is, I mean, I think most people will get a blood panel. They get one every few years, right? So it's like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, the trends that like it's so
looking
far
in the mirror once every few years. Like you don't see progress.
Yeah, it's like getting a 1 rep max every 5 years. Right. And you're like, it's not even relevant anymore. Like, well, how is that useful to me?
Right.
Yeah. So,
but if you're putting in the work and you're actually changing your lifestyle, and you're putting in these right lifestyle behaviors, and then you're getting the feedback on a somewhat regular basis, and then you have the ability to celebrate some of these small wins, you start to see just changes, small changes that are taking place every few months, quarterly, twice a year, whatever it might be. That keeps you on track. I mean, that's how you maintain behaviors. Like you got to celebrate small victories along the way. You can't only be looking for what's it going to be like in 3 years. I'll just check back then.
Yeah, you have to see it. You have to physically be able to see it, which is the one of the big components of tracking in the gym. It's why in-body scans can be useful in some instances. Yeah. I need to see the progress in order to continue said behavior, because in a lot of it, well, anytime we're talking about biometrics, that's not going to be physically visible to you.
Right.
I mean, there might be some instances where
for the most part,
right? But for the most part, I'm not going to know that my hemoglobin A1C went from 5.6 to 5.5. Like, how the fuck am I going to know that?
Yeah.
So I think it's stuff like that can be really useful. And in that, we should never discount just introducing that information to people. In many instances, changes behavior.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you a perfect, like we, Dr. Jenkins. Yeah. So Jay and I were working with him maybe like 2 years ago. He's like, we're going to do the RP. And he sent over all the protocol and everything like that. And he's like, I need your weight on these days.
Yeah.
And sorry, Doc, I did not open one of those spreadsheets that he sent me. All I did was send him my weight, and it worked.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, I have to send my weight to this dude now.
You have to, yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm making decisions about like, I'm not going to eat that. I'm like, I'll put it off to the side. It's just like, so did it work? Yeah.
Just that level of accountability. You got to send me your weight.
Right.
Means. Yeah.
And I wasn't overweight.
That in the face. Yeah.
I wasn't overweight, right? I was just like, oh shit, So and it worked, right?
I gotta send it 3 times a week.
Right.
I'm going to start making different decisions so that those 3 times a week,
right?
I'm
exactly
going to show him the results that.
Right. Exactly. So I think it's cool what you're doing, man. I look forward to any. Or is there anything you can announce here or no?
Well, we announced we're doing that,
yep.
right? And that's a big one. So that'll be cool. When it'll officially launch. I cannot announce yet, but it'll be soon.
You guys think you'll have it by the games, or is that a target for you guys?
I think we'll have it by the games,
okay.
and we'll have some.
It's
we'll
April
have
right now
them there at the games. So the medical society will be there.
Okay, cool.
We'll do something for affiliates.
Okay, well let's connect there because we'll be doing the same podcast extravaganza.
We'll get Tom on there too.
Nate will be standing up for 14 hours a day behind the camera.
Oh man, I remember. Yeah. The other thing is that healthcare professional fundamentals course. We have our first one in Colorado,
and that is an in-person course.
It's in person. Okay. It's 1 day.
Where in Colorado? Boulder, probably.
Thornton, right outside of Boulder.
Okay.
And
1 day,
June 22nd, 1 day.
1 day course.
It's on a Saturday, June 22nd, okay. And then we'll have another one in San Diego. July
and that is
20th.
For healthcare professionals.
It is for healthcare professionals.
What's it cost?
In the works.
Okay.
It'll be somewhere around $600.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reasonable for a 1 day course.
For a 1 day course.
Cool.
It's 7 CMEs. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So can a non-medical professional attend this?
No.
Okay.
Not this one.
Got it.
No. So
does level 4 count as a doctor? I'm asking. I'm asking for Jason Ackerman.
A doctor of CrossFit.
A doctor of CrossFit.
A DRC.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
Right? Doc?
Yep. Doctor, DRC.
Doctor. So that course. Those are the big ones, man. And I think the other part is just like we've kind of started to shy away from this idea of CrossFit health, slowly pulling the reins on that terminology, and having this like really cool integration of health.
Meaning like, hey, this is not our lane.
Not only that, it's
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
There was a misconception of what CrossFit health was. It's like, we had CrossFit, and CrossFit did like all this performance stuff.
Right.
And you had CrossFit health, and CrossFit health was for health. And it's like, no, that's not actually true. CrossFit health, what the name really did well is it attracted the healthcare professionals that we needed into the community.
That's branding.
It's branding. But health is, we've talked about health since day one at the level 1.
Work capacity across broad time and modal domains
We've
throughout the years
always
of your
been
life.
about health.
Yeah.
Like it's what we do.
Yeah.
Like we try to keep people in the gym long enough so they can achieve improved health outcomes.
That's cool.
Right? It's just what we do. So taking that and integrating it more into the brand, I think that's going to be super useful for the community, super useful for affiliates, and coaches, because it will attract the right people into the gym.
Yeah.
It starts to break down a lot of those barriers. It takes time. It's a fight.
But I think that's the fastest route, though, right? Yeah. So think about it like, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. But there's a reason Shopify is as big as it is. It's because Shopify figured out, like, hey, we're not going to do everything. We're going to do a couple of components really well. Yeah. And then we are going to build the platform that other people can plug into. And so their app ecosystem is I think is larger than Apple's app ecosystem. I mean, it is massive. So what they did was like, hey, we created the forum for everybody to plug into this and then support the end user, which is like somebody's trying to sell some shit. I think that would be an interesting model for CrossFit to explore, which is like, hey, we're going to do a couple things like really, really well. And then we're going to create the forum for like, oh, you want to come in here and you want to make people fitter, do all these other things and, fix broken medicine, all these other things, like plug in here,
right.
and we just, you're just the conduit for all of it. So
that's right. Yeah.
Cool.
That's cool.
All right. Well, then we will chat at the games, my friend.
Sounds good.
Thank you for what
you do.
It's
a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.